Logue here for irishboxing.com. Delighted to be joined by Emmett Brennan down in the Docklands here in Dublin.
The Docklands, yeah.
Down in this is your home area kind of, so to speak, isn't it?
10 minutes from here. I'm on the north side though, so we'll get a hiding over this side of the city.
That's where the cap's on, is it?
The cap's on.
Dressed in black, keep the head down.
Yeah, keeping low, yeah.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good, yeah. Back training, so I've had a long time out through injury, longer than expected. Shoulder injury. Thought the rehab was going to be 3 or 4 months. A little bit of naivety on my part. We're 10 months post surgery now, but I'm ready to get the ball rolling.
100%.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because it is something that's kind of plagued you for a while, the injury. You spoke about it in your post-fight interview at the Olympics. You know, you've been injured leading up to the Olympics. You've had I believe it's the same issue.
Yeah, it's been the same issue the whole way through.
Yeah, just update us on, well, what exactly is the issue with your shoulder, and just talk to us a little bit about the kind of rehab and where you're at.
Yeah, so I might have been, I'd say, probably 5 months before Tokyo. I was just punching the bag and I was getting like shooting pain in the shoulder. But obviously we had the qualifiers coming up, so we had to fight. There was nothing you can do about it. We got MRI scans on it, and it was a thing called shoulder impingement. Basically tendons and ligaments are getting caught in between the bone and the bursa sac. So there's nothing I could really do but get an injection and really tailor back the training. So no real punching before the Olympics. And then the plan was post Olympics, just go hell for leather, focus on rehab. And there was a high percentage that I would have recovering without any operation or anything like that. But just because of me, that doesn't happen. It's never the easy road. So yeah, we done like 12 weeks rehab that led us into November post Olympics, and it just was not getting any better. So got the operation in January. Again, thought it was going to be 3 or 4 months rehab, and ended up being 10 months. So yeah, it's probably stopped me a lot, because if you think about it, I spent that much time getting to the Olympics, and right post Olympics, in a month, 2 months, 3 months, you have the highest potential to get sponsors on board, to get promotional contracts, going pro. There's a lot of media and exposure around you, and unfortunately that just all went by me because of the injury. Yeah,
you're kind of a hot property.
You're a hot property, but
post Olympics, and you did an interview that really kind of captivated people and captured the nation, so to speak.
It pushed my name out there. It was, as you said, people knew who I was. more got to do with the interview than the boxing, which isn't great, but you'll take it, and the exposure is good. But yeah, I suppose I was in a position where I could have gotten sponsors on board, and I could have gotten good pro contracts, but it just wasn't meant to be. And I didn't really want to go out looking for contracts or looking for sponsors when I didn't know where the shoulder was going to be. I couldn't sign dotted line with anything, and 3 months later I actually couldn't fight. So yeah, it stopped me from doing a lot. Yeah,
fair enough, but that also makes sense, like why you kind of managed to sound like you're quite level-headed in terms of that's the business stuff. You didn't want to overcommit to something that you didn't feel like you could commit to. But talk to me about, as a high-level sportsman, as someone who's been boxing his whole life, that's your dreams to get to the Olympics, it's clearly your whole life. What's it been like to be injured for a year, basically, or maybe a little bit longer than a year, and be out and kind of not be able to box, for lack of a better term? You haven't been able to participate in the sport that your whole life is built around. What's that like mentally? How have you dealt with it, and how have you kind of kept yourself motivated all the way up to this point where you're kind of on the precipice of getting back in the swing of things?
Yeah, it's definitely been the hardest year in my life. I wouldn't say the worst, but it's been the hardest. Like, it's motivation has been very low at times, and then there was times where I didn't know whether I was actually going to recover from the injury. Only 3 months ago I thought I was going to have to get a second operation, and obviously that's hard. One, it's hard on the mind, and two, financially you're talking 7,000 for an operation and another 3,000 for rehab. So that would have left me in a hole. But I always knew that I was going to get back in the ring. I couldn't leave it at that last fight in Tokyo, and I knew I was going to go pro, because just stylistically amateur isn't suited for me. The professional style I always had. I'm 31 now, so if you go for Paris, the chances of going professional just aren't there. Ideally, I'd want to be 28, 29 going pro, but look, it's the situation I'm in. I'm 31. But you look at Eric Donovan, you look at Dennis Hogan, 37, 38. One has become a European champion, the other has become a world champion within the last 2 weeks. They live a very good lifestyle, something that I am trying to basically copy that lifestyle. They've done the business. They probably had the struggles in the past, and that's no secret. But they've shown through changing their lifestyle, being committed to the sport, being committed to the process of wherever it may be, that you can go on and be successful in the sport.
100%. So the plan is to go pro, yeah? That's the general plan. Talk to me just about that in general. What some of the details? So who do you want to be your coach? Where are you going to sign? Are you going to sign a professional contract? Is it just going to be management? Talk to me about the details of turning pro.
Yeah, so we went over to New York in March, April, May. Spent I think it was like 10 weeks I spent over there. Try suss things out in New York because it's a great city. It's a great boxing city. Plenty of Irish people over there. I wanted to go over and see, one, do I like it, and two, can I sell tickets? Because there's no point in being in a great city if you can't sell tickets, because let's be honest, professional boxing is a business at the end of the day. And yeah, I think I'll do quite well on ticket sales, which is great. Seems to be quite popular over there. A lot of people want to get behind me, which is great again. So the plan for me is potentially move between Ireland and New York, and I was offered contracts while I was over there. Not good enough for me to sign, so that had me just trying to think of plan B, plan C, and initially the first 6 months I'm gonna go unsigned, try get on a few shows, especially if I'm in New York. If I'm selling like 400, 500, 600 tickets, I'm worth a lot more to the promoter, and they can see the value in signing me, rather than if I sign right now, the contract might be worth as much. So that's where I'm thinking in terms of what kind of promoter I'd like to go with, or what kind of contract I want. And then coaching wise, I've done a little bit with John Duddy, had a meeting with him over there, chatted with him. He seems to be on board. Again, I'll have to go back over to New York, which is the plan, probably I'd say around February. Go back over there, chat with him again, do a little bit of work with him, see if we click. And then I would like to have him as my coach, because he's Irish, two, similar style to myself, and a really, really nice person. He's very, very passionate. That's the thing that I got straight away from him, his passion. He's from Derry. He has the strong Derry accent, and even if you look at him boxing, he was a warrior. Something similar to the way I see myself. Yeah,
so you just feel like stylistically he's someone who can help you kind of hone your skills and like hone your game as such, because you kind of know what way you're going to fight, but maybe it's just about refining some of the technique and learning how to kind of put that into place in the professional ring as effectively as you can.
Yeah, look, I do have a pretty professional style, but there is also some change that I will have to make. I know like my hooks are quite long. I'll have to shorten them a little bit, because we're going to have a longer rounds. You can't be using as much energy throwing big shots all the time. Shorter shots, working a little bit more on the inside.
The inside is what I was
exactly how John boxed. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting over there. It's not a done deal in terms of me and him, but I definitely want to chat to him again. Plus he was the last probably big name to do it in New York from Ireland, so and he boxed at middleweight, I'll be boxing at silver middle, so it'll be John Duddy .2.
Very good. Talk to me about the reasons kind of in your head for wanting to go to New York. I know you want to sell tickets, it's a business, but would it not be possible in your head to do it here in Ireland or in Dublin? Like, do you not see yourself being maybe one of, if not the guy who can kind of really grab a hold of the local scene maybe and bring the Dublin fans out and kind of like light up the local scene? There's also a lot of guys around your weight in Ireland.
Yeah, like it's like this. I had this thought in my head for the last few years, go to New York, and that's always been the thought. If I ever went pro, it would have been in New York. But boxing, I think, will start to kick off back in Dublin, and if it does start to kick off, yeah, I would have no problem boxing here. But at the moment, there's not a lot of shows, there's not a lot of TV shows. You have to be on TV realistically to be making a living out of the sport. And for me at 31 now, it's about making a living.
Yeah,
it's not gonna cost me any more money. There's no more loans. There's nothing like that. I'm in the sport now to make money via fighting and via sponsors. And I just think there's a higher potential to do that in New York, where you have the likes of Top Rank, you have other promoters, Matchroom. They're all putting shows on, like Madison Square Garden. You're probably getting 6 to 8 fights there per year. Whereas I can't remember the last fight in Dublin. Like, at the moment, it's hard to think. So if there was more fights on the island, I'd have no problem fighting between here and New York.
Yeah, 100%. What do you make of that local scene at the moment? Like, just off the top of my head, you've so many guys knocking around, like super middleweight, light heavyweight in Ireland, the likes of Kevin Cronin, Robbie Burke, Jamie Morrissey. Then you've got like Thomas O'Toole, Tommy Hyde turned over, didn't he? Like, and I'm definitely missing a couple as well. Like, you've loads of lads knocking around. What do you make of the scene? Are any of them fights kind of fights that you would want to take? You know, say in Dublin, like a Dublin clash against someone like Robbie Burke, and one of your first fights.
I wouldn't fight Robbie Burke. The two of us we trained together all the way up, so he's a good friend of mine. I wouldn't fight him. Anyone else I see up on middleweight, yeah.
Reece Moran's there as well, another one in Celtic Warriors gym.
Yeah, anyone I see up on middleweight. So again, I'm 31. I'm not waiting around. I'm trying to get. I know you need, I think it's 5 fights before you can go for the Irish title.
Yeah. You have to box an 8-rounder as well, don't you?
I boxed in the Olympics. I boxed at a high level, so I'm going to see if there's a way around that. I want an Irish title within my third fight. I'm at that level. Like, there's no point in going backwards. I'm not waiting around. Whoever's the silver middleweight champion the next 6 months, that's what I want. There's no point in me waiting around. There's no point in me fighting let's be honest, a bin man or something from Georgia. It's pointless. Getting in straight into the deep end. Have 1 or 2 fights just to test the shoulder out first, and then we will look at getting the Irish title. Yeah,
okay. Where do you see yourself in terms of that group of lads, that bunch? It's a tidy little bunch for Ireland. Where do you see yourself?
Yeah, at the top of it. No doubt about it. I'm not looking past anyone, but yeah, I'm at the top of that pile.
Okay.
It's not a question.
Maybe I think it would be interesting to see some of them fights. Now, I know your ambitions probably lie a lot further, outside of Ireland and a lot higher, but we would definitely, I think a lot of people would be intrigued to see the likes of yourself, who is a name coming out of the amateurs, say going straight in, more or less straight into, say, a fight with an active Irish pro, kind of in that weight class.
That's what I want. As I said, I'll get 1 or 2 fights, test the shoulder. Third fight, I want an Irish title. Then you go for the Celtic title. Then maybe after that, look at the European title in 18 months down the road, because there is a process before you get to these titles. You're not going to jump straight for European. You got to build up the rounds. You got to get stiff for competition. But that's the route I'd like to go. Maybe Irish, Celtic, European, and then I think European would near enough get you top 15 in the world.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then anything can happen from there.
I was going to say, where do you kind of see yourself ending up? Like, you seem like a pretty level-headed guy, pretty reasonable guy. A lot of boxers might say things like, I can be a world champion, when, say, a lot of people think they couldn't be a world champion. But where do you actually realistically see yourself going? How far can you get in the sport? You reached an extremely high level as an amateur. How far can you go in the pros, do you think?
Well, I reached that level as an amateur, and I wasn't suited to amateur boxing. So I done quite well there. My mindset is different to a lot of people. A lot of people say they'll do this, they'll do that. I've shown them by the Olympics. My mindset is unbreakable, and I'm sure as a professional I'll get to the top of the game. It's going to take, again, I'm not naive and I'm not stupid. I want to be in the top 15 in the world within the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay, so you'll have to move fast.
I want to move fast. Yeah, look, I'll have to. As I said, I want to be at European title level within 18 months. So you're probably talking not next summer, summer after. You're talking summer 2024.
Well, that's
I want to be
fast.
It is and it isn't. When you think about it, if you get the Irish title in your third fight, then if you get the Celtic title in 5 or 6, that will probably get you to top 10 in Europe anyway, and then you'll probably climb the rankings with 2 fights by 2024. And you look at the level that I boxed at as an amateur, it's probably a lot higher than Irish or Celtic title, without being disrespectful.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, obviously it is an extremely high level to box at the Olympics, so, or at that level, let's say, as an amateur. I want to touch a little bit on the Katie Taylor Serrano card. There's a couple of things I want to ask you about, but you made a big push to try and get on that card.
Yeah.
So regardless of if you obviously felt at the time like you were fit enough to
I was
box.
probably lucky I didn't get on it.
Yeah. But like that's what I was gonna say. Like maybe perhaps in hindsight you weren't actually ready to be on that card. But just talk to me about that. Like it seemed like all I saw was you on Twitter over those kind of the weeks leading up to it. There was a big push. You were trying to really get into Eddie Hearn's ear. Did it fall on deaf ears or?
No, I got contact back off him. Like he says, look, I've seen everything, and he's a man that he just wants Matchroom on social media. So that was positive for him. He was just saying Matchroom everywhere. Even though it was only me trying to get onto a fight, he's seeing Matchroom getting tagged, or he's getting tagged in thousands of posts. So that's only good for him.
Yeah.
He got back to me and says, look, I've seen everything online, but I've them spaces filled with my own boxes, which is fair.
Yeah.
In hindsight, probably the best thing that happened to me, because one, I got exposure without getting a dig in the face, and two, the shoulder wouldn't have been ready. So if I had to get on that, I would have having to pull out, and the likelihood is you're not going to get another chance if you pull out of a fight. So in hindsight, it was a win-win without getting punched in the face. The reason why I wanted it is because, as I said, I'm moving to New York.
Yeah.
I went to the fight. Every Irish person from New York went to that fight. So there would have been no better introduction to the New York Irish community than fighting that night.
Yeah.
But look, it wasn't meant to be. It didn't happen, and it was a great night. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
It was a phenomenal fight.
It was the best atmosphere I've ever been at.
Yeah.
And I don't, even if it happens in Croke Park, I don't think it will beat that night.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because it was a closed stadium.
Yeah.
The fight was 50-50. The actual support at the fight was 50-50 as well.
Okay.
There was a lot of Puerto Ricans, there was a lot of Irish. Just the way it went, I don't think it will ever be done again.
Okay. Interesting. I would be very interested to see what progress like.
Oh no, it will be unbelievable. Don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about like
not the moment and
the
like,
moment.
the
Like say if Serrano had, remember in round 5 she was on top of Katie, if that happened in Croker, the place would be silent. Whereas Madison Square Garden was hopping because the crowd was 50-50 and it was a small venue.
I get you. The other thing I wanted to ask you about that fight actually was, I believe you came out afterwards and said you thought Serrano won the fight.
At the time, because I was at the fight, and looking back at it as well, like round 5 played a big part in that psychology because it was such a big round, but that was only one round. I looked at the fight back and I thought Katie won by a round. It was a close fight.
It was close.
I looked at her back like 2 or 3 days later, and I thought she either won by, depending how you give round 5, some people could have actually given that a 10-8 round because she was dominant.
But it doesn't happen often.
It doesn't happen often. I gave it to Katie by either 1 or 2 because she started off very well. She won like the first 3 and then she closed very well. So it was like maybe 6-4 in rounds, or could have been 7-3, whichever way you wanted to look at it.
She tends to do that, doesn't she, in the close fights? She nicks it by a couple of rounds, just she has the wherewithal, the experience, the dog in her to kind of to close the fights out well. Start quick, close out well.
And a lot.
Pursuing fight, same with the Tasha Jones fight.
A lot of that is a mindset, like she's a winner, she's a warrior. When things get tough, and they did get very tough in that fight, like to come back from that round 5 because she took some big punches, and then I think it was like round 7, 8, 9, she was unbelievable, unbelievable. And again, at the time, looking at the fight in person, you take take it a little bit for granted when you're looking at her back and a little bit more of a clearer head. No commentary on, you can see things a lot clearer, and yeah, she won the fight.
Yeah, definitely. Just as we're talking about Katie Taylor, are you going to make your way over for the fight in 2 weeks now?
No, I won't go over. I don't even know the girl that she's boxing.
Yeah.
Argentinian, is she?
Yeah, I think she's from
Argentina.
Argentina. I forgot the name of the country.
Yeah.
Argentina. But her name is like Brenda or something.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. There's a few Irish people on the card.
Well, Gary Cully's on the card and Keevan O'Jack's on the card.
So it's a big enough card for Irish,
Heavy
but
Irish.
no, I won't make her over.
Yeah. Last couple of things I want to ask you about before I let you go, because I know you've a session to go to, is kind of, and this pertains I suppose quite well to Docklands and the amateur scene. What do you make of the current Irish amateur success? The juniors and the seniors are, and it's probably, let's give a big shout out, to be fair, to the women.
Yeah.
They're unbelievable at the moment. Like, they're riding the crest of a wave, and it doesn't seem to be dying down anytime soon. What's your take on everything?
Yeah, I think it's a golden generation for women's boxing. I think it's probably the best team that they've had overall, like weight by weight. I don't think there's probably not one bad weight there at the moment. Do you have 9 boxing today for a medal in the European Championships, which is, yeah, it's quite unheard of. And I think they will probably come away with maybe 4 goals there, which again is unbelievable. And that's, look, we've trained with women, trained with Lisa Kelly, Amy, Michaela, and they train as hard as the men. There's been a structure in place where they've been training with the men for the last 4, 5, 6 years, and that's shown in the results. They're given the same circumstances as the men, the same standards, the same coaching, the same funding, and you're seeing it in the ring.
Yeah.
They I would say that the powerhouse of women's boxing worldwide now. You would have maybe India and Turkey at the top of that pile in women's boxing, but I think in this tournament Ireland are going to come away with the top spot.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. Yeah. If the quarter-final lineup is set to go by.
Yeah, and then even you look in general, the boxers coming through, men and women, there's plenty of talent. You had Ava of Air Club last week. Ava. She won gold. She is going to be the future of Irish women's boxing, no doubt about that. You have Bobby Flood, we talked about him earlier. Tremendous talent. And then there's plenty of other lads and women there that's coming through. It's we're not shy of talent, put it that way.
No, absolutely. It is. I think, just to echo that sentiment, it's a golden generation. And even to talk a little bit about the men as well, like, you've got the likes of your Jack Marleys and Gabriel Dawsons, who are winning the European Championships, 22s, etc. And obviously Bobby Flood with, you know, a year left to defend his under 18 title. You know,
yeah, unbelievable. You just hope that LA 2028 goes ahead, and
this is one of the problems.
Yeah, it is a problem, because you don't want a lot of these lads going pro young. You want to keep them in the system as long as possible. You look at Bobby Flood, like, he's only 16, is he?
Yeah, he's 17, I think, so like, just gone pretty
16,
much.
17, so by the time LA comes around he'll be 20, 22. Perfect age to go pro. Now you might lose him at 19, 20 if LA doesn't happen. Look, not necessarily a bad thing for him, but you're talking Irish amateur boxing, you want to keep that talent till that 20, 22, 23, 24 as well. With the Olympics, you look at people have the most success around 25, 26, so if you can hold them in the system till that long, one, you have a better chance of medaling as a country at the Olympics, and two, the boxer themselves have medal at the Olympics, so they're worth more to a promoter.
Yeah, definitely. How detrimental could this be to Irish boxing if boxing is kicked out of the Olympics, like, properly? What kind of ramifications could that have, do you think?
Yeah, to amateur boxing, I think it will be possibly the death of it. You're talking about there won't be any Olympics boxing until 2032 if it gets back in. Does anyone say, I want to be a European champion or a world champion? Both great accolades, by the way, but any amateur boxer says, I want to be an Olympian, I want to be an Olympic champion. I've never heard a boxer come into a club and say, I want to be a European champion. It's like like you ever see about the football, no one ever says they want to be a Gary Neville. They want to be a striker scoring goals. But no, obviously you would like to be a European or world champion, but everyone wants to be Olympians, and unless they have that, there's just no incentive to keep them in and not go professional. Because as well, if the Olympics isn't there, a lot of the funding's took away.
But this is kind of what I was getting at, right? How detrimental is it to the actual, to the IABA as well, and to boxing on a whole? Could you see a drop? Do you think you could see a drop off in participation, in membership, like once, because the Olympics is kind of, to be fair, boxing as it pertains to mainstream sport and mainstream media, it's all about the Olympics. It's all about the amateurs leading into and surrounding the Olympics, right? So if you all of a sudden take that away, what does that do to the sport overall, especially if it's away from the Olympics for a few years, for a few Olympic cycles? Do you start to see real detrimental effects? Like, do you think you really start to see like a fall off in numbers, a fall off in participation?
Not participation. I think a lot of the clubs will go pro-am if that happens. Okay. They go professional amateur, because if they want to keep their clubs alive and they want to keep people coming through the door, they're going to have to. Let's be honest. And then if they go that way, a lot of the style might change, because they're actually training them to be a professional boxer rather than that fast twitch,
twitchy, bouncy,
the amateur boxer. So the style will change. You see in England, a lot of the gyms are pro-am. A lot of the style is more destined for professional boxing. Obviously you have the exceptions as well in England.
And is there a flip side that you could all of a sudden see, could it be beneficial to professional boxing in Ireland, where all of a sudden maybe there's more people who are willing to financially back the scene, because all of a sudden you've all these really high level juniors and young boxers who are coming out of the amateurs a lot earlier, and all of a sudden you've got this really kind of high level scene, and you've got loads of boxers turning over. Could it be something? Do you think it could have a positive effect on the professional scene?
100%. So you look at GB in England, they have Team GB, I think they have like 3 boxers in every weight, and that's to do for the next Olympic cycle. So if you're a boxer in England and you're not on that GB team, you know your Olympic dream is basically, you're not going to the Olympics, so you go professional. That's what I think will just happen here. People get to 18, there's no chance of going to an Olympics, so they'll just turn professional. So I think what will happen is the same professional scene in Ireland, 1, the standard will get a lot higher, 2, the volume of fighters will be a lot higher, and 3, that means there'll be a lot more shows. And then that's where the likes of television might come in.
Well, let's hope so, Emma. Let's hope so, and let's hope so. Let's hope that over the next few years, that even regardless of whatever happens with the Olympics, that the professional scene continues to grow in Ireland and in Dublin particularly, and you could well be at the forefront of that. Look,
as I said, I'm 31. I have no plans of quitting anytime soon. I still see myself in the sport for the next 5, 6, 7 years. As I said, Eric is doing it, Dennis is doing it. It's how you live your life. In the next 5, 6, 7 years, I can get to the top of the game, and there's no reason why I couldn't be at the forefront of that.
100%. Emmett Brennan, world champion in the next few years. Is that what we see?
I'd say 4 years.
4 years?
4 or 5 years. Look, as I said, I'm going into the deep end, taking a few risks. I know, I'm not naive. There has to be a few risks along the way. You're gonna have to go onto a show and fight someone's prospect up and coming. You're gonna have to take that risk. I think Eric done the same against Barrett a few years ago, and he was winning the fight only before he got caught. He was actually winning the fight quite well. If he had a win in that fight, I think Barrett is fighting in a world title eliminator soon.
He's going to fight for the vacant title, because Cordina had to vacate, didn't he? So Rakimov and Barrett are going to fight for the vacant title in Dubai on the undercard of Zurdo Ramirez and Bivol.
So it's about taking risks, basically, calculate the risks at the right time against the right opponent. The right risk, of course. It's about doing the right risk, and it has to make sense financially as well. But look, stranger things have happened. You look at it, it doesn't even have to be. You can go for an IBO title. That's becoming a lot more common now. We have McCrory fighting for that. this weekend. Dennis Hogan won it there 2 weeks ago.
Great win against Sam Baker.
Yeah, it's becoming a lot more common, and I think eventually you're gonna end up in it 5. We're in like the 4 titles now, don't we?
Yeah.
I think eventually it's gonna end up 5 titles. I think the IBO will get into that eventually.
We'll get its kind of legitimacy.
Yeah, I think so, because it is becoming a lot more common. There's a lot more names going for it,
and it's already recognised as like the clear number 5, isn't it?
Yeah,
there's so many other belts and organisations that people don't even know about.
Yeah, it's a pathway.
Yeah,
it is a pathway. Like, I'd say Dennis Hogan, now that he's got that title, will probably get a big money offer off someone.
Yeah,
someone coming
hopefully.
through. Yeah, I think so.
Look, Emmett, I've taken up a lot of your time, so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for talking to IrishBoxing.com. We really appreciate it. It's good to see you kind of back out. It's good to get you on the camera. We look forward to hearing about any news that you've got for us coming soon, and hopefully get you back in the ring as soon as possible.
Okay, thanks very much.
No worries. Thank you, mate.